Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Kraken Packs video. I am your host, Mr. Bevers. Today, I participated in a pre-release event where I won 6 booster packs, as you see above here. I also was unable to participate in the other 2 events that my local game store was running, but I did register for them and just drop out of the event at the beginning. I brought the packs home with me. The only reason I wasn't able to play is because I had prior commitments. So I went in, I pre-registered, I went back when the event started, picked up my pack, like everyone else, and basically left the shop. So that's where I have these from. So we're going to start with one of these today, and then I'll get to the 6 packs after that. So let's see how we do. I came in second place, that's why I have 6 packs. And we're going to get right into things here. So let's get right into the good stuff. So these pre-release kits, my pre-release deck was an interesting kind of hodgepodge. I didn't pull anything crazy amazing. This is not wanting to open, so let's get the knife. Okie dokie. There it is. Okie dokie. We don't need that anymore. Toss. Toss. Alright. So again, they went with the thing where you push the button and you open it up. You gotta be careful because the edges of the inside of this box get caught on these two little... There's 2 little, like, discs here. Like this. So there's 2 tabs there. That if you're not careful, it gets caught on the edge of this. So I don't know if that was designed that way on purpose, but first things first, let's take a look. We got a little white die here. There it is. And then as you're all aware, we've got... Or maybe you're not aware, but... You get 4 packs of Aether Revolt and 2 packs of Kaladesh to build your deck with. You get a sticker. A weird little, like, sort of daggery sticker. Then, of course, as always, you get a little divider. Reclaim our Girapur. There it is, the little flag. And of course you've got your instruction manual sort of thing on, like, here's how to, building your sealed deck. Attention citizens, they have like a little kind of like thing for other stuff. And then you've got your promo rare. So my promo here is a Metallic Mimic. So 2/1 for 2. That says, as Metallic Mimic enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Metallic Mimic is the chosen type in addition to its other types. Each other creature you control of the chosen type enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. Okay. That's kind of interesting. So you get to pick whatever creature type you want this to be when it enters the battlefield. This is kind of interesting. It's an interesting little thing. So anyway, this is the box. Also, there's like a little... like storage chest thing. It's just the same way they did with the Kaladesh boxes. Most likely for your dice or whatever you want to call it. And then it just closes right back up. And it should lock, but it's not locking for whatever reason. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's get right into the good stuff, right? We don't need that either. Alright, we'll open up the let's open up the Kaladesh packs first. See how that goes for us. There may not be anything super exciting in these, but let's see. So, Aetherborn Marauder, Skywhaler's Shot, Fairground Trumpeter, and our first rare is an Ovia Pashiri, Sage Lifecrafter. Not a bad little card in Limited. Doesn't see much play anywhere else. Let's see. Nature's Way, Iron League Steed, Morbid Curiosity, and a Territorial Gorger. Of course. This is the rare. I have like so many copies of this guy. So many copies. I think like out of my case and my fat pack that I opened, I got like 8 copies of him, which is crazy. My bundle. My bundle had like 2 copies of him in it, and we got a Chandra emblem there. It's not too bad. So those were our Kaladesh packs from our pre-release kit. Let's see what we have going on in here. Now, I'm less familiar with these cards because I tend not to read spoilers and stuff very often for these cards, so you'll have to bear with me as I'm because some of these cards might be new to me. That enchantment seems very good. 1 cost, make any color, and you can sack it at any time to draw a card. Seems pretty good. Okay, so those are our commons. Let's see what we got for uncommons. Treasure Keeper, this guy seems very good as well. So he's a 3/3 for 4, but when he dies, you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal the non-land card with you can cast that card without paying its mana cost. Put all revealed cards you cast swing on the bottom in a random order. Tezzeret's Touch. Another interesting, this is a black-blue enchantment. Enchanted Artifact is a creature with base power and toughness of 5/5 in addition to its other types. When Enchanted Artifact is put into a graveyard, return that card to its owner's hand. It's interesting. So you can turn your artifact into a 5/5, and then when it dies, you get it back, which is kind of cool. Seems good. Ridgescale Tusker, 5/5 for 5. Put a 1/1 counter on each other creature you control. That seems pretty good. I would have liked to have that guy in my pool. Oh, nice. Alright, so our first rare from the Aether Revolt packs is an Oath of Ajani. I want copies of this. I'm planning on building a green-white token deck around this with doubling seasons and things like that. Should be interesting. Should be interesting. So that's a pretty nice rare. It's a pretty nice rare. And just a Thopter token and a Plains. I'm not going to go through trying to build a deck out of the sealed pool because I just don't think it's that needed. I mean, you guys can let me know below in the comments if something like this in the future, because I'm planning to pick up a couple more of the pre-release kits provided the local game shop has some more next weekend when the release happens. So if it's something you'd like to see is my build process, I can go through that and we can shoot a video for YouTube like that as well. Okay, so we got a Rogue Refiner, which is a 3/2 for 3, green and blue. When Rogue Refiner enters the battlefield, draw a card, and you get 2 energy. Not bad. Just kind of like very similar to the Cloud Blazer, just not flying, and costs 2 less. And instead of getting the life, you get 2 energy. So I mean, obviously there's some major differences, but it's a similar mechanic. Okay, so Thopter Arrest. Target artifact or creature an opponent controls until the Thopter Arrest leaves place. It's just like an Oblivion Ring. Servo Schematic. So it's a 2-drop artifact. When this enters the battlefield, put into the graveyard, create a 1/1 servo. And our second rare is a Battle at the Bridge. It's 1 black and X with Improvise, which means you can tap artifacts in addition to the mana cost to increase or to help pay for it, essentially. Target creature gets -X until until end of turn, and you gain X life. Doesn't seem terrible. Doesn't seem terrible. And we got a servo and a forest. All right, so let's keep going here. This card did a lot of work for my opponents while I was playing. Shielded Aether Thief. 04 for 2 with flash. When it blocks, you get an energy. You can pay 3 energy, tap this guy, draw a card. That's pretty good. That's not a bad blue card. I like that. Very good for blue control decks. Restoration Specialist. This is an interesting one. It's a 2/1 for 2 that you can pay a white, sacrifice it in return. 1 target artifact card from your graveyard and 1 enchantment from your graveyard to your hand. Seems pretty good. Okay, we got our first vehicle, Consulate Dreadnought. It's a crew of 6, but it's a 7/11. Holy, and it costs 1 to play. Dear God. That is a hefty crew cost. But if you can get there, all the power to you, I guess. If you can somehow get 6 power on turn 2 to crew a 7/11 on turn 2, by all means. Pia's Revolution is our rare here. So far our rares are totally... We have 4 colors in our rares now. Yeah, 4 colors in our rares now. So we got a Pia's Revolution, which is an enchantment that whenever a non-token artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return that card to your hand unless the target opponent has it deal 3 damage to them. Not bad. A nice little thing. And we got a foil here, which is a Consulate Turret. 3 mana, tap it, you gain an energy. Tap it, pay 3 energy, and it deals 2 damage to target player. It's not bad. It's very versatile because it can go in any deck. Our rares are kind of all over the place. I don't know if you would play the red. You might. The Territorial Gorger is not horrible for this kind of format. Cogwork Assembler. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact. That token gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of next end step. That seems pretty good. Here's the guy that everyone's talking about. The Felidar Guardian with the Saheeli combo. So there's, basically bounce, 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 bounce. Bounce Saheeli, bounce Saheeli, bounce Saheeli. Tap target artifact or creature for 2 mana. Pacification Array. And our rare here is an Aether Geode Miner, or an Aether Geode Miner, however you want to pronounce it. Whenever Aether Miner attacks, you get 2 energy. Pay 2 energy, exile Aether Geode Miner, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. So this works very good in conjunction with the new mechanic of Revolt, which is, it's like if something left play on your turn, then you get another ability, or it triggers something, essentially like that. And we have a Swamp. So, I mean, not an interesting, I didn't look through the commons too much, but I don't know what you would build with this deck. I mean, you can't really base anything on the rares, because you kind of got a little bit of everything here. You have 1 white rare, 1 green rare, 2 red rares, a black rare, and then 1 that's white and green. So, I mean, you might try to force white-green and go Oath of Ajani with the Sage Lifecrafter, but, then the Oath doesn't really do much unless you have ways to make tokens and stuff. And the Planeswalker spells doesn't do anything because you didn't get any Planeswalkers, so it doesn't really do much for that. But, it's interesting. It's an interesting little thing. So let's get into the winnings of my tournament. Let's get into those. Yeah, but so... Yeah, so the Oath of Ajani is it puts a 1/1 counter on each creature you control when it enters, right? Sage Lifecrafter makes creature tokens, absolutely. So you could make a whole bunch, right, with and then play the Oath of Ajani, but you got to get there then, right? It's a lot of turns of you tapping 3 and tapping her to get a 1/1 out just to be able to play the Oath, right? You want to have a lot of heavy creature base so that the Oath actually does something, right? Because the Oath is a one-shot thing in a sealed pool like this, right? Restoration Specialist. Lifecraft Awakening. Spire Patrol. So it's a 3/2 flyer with white-blue, 2 colorless. When Spire Patrol enters the battlefield, tap target creature and opponent controls. That creature does not untap during its controller's next untap step. So it's interesting. And our rare here is a SRAM Senior Edificer. That's true. Yeah, you can always bounce the Oath as well. Not a bad way to do it. So this guy's not bad. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him. So it's whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, draw a card. Very good for like the white-red vehicle deck. So I'm sure that they're happy to see something like that. Oh, this pack. Get out of there, pack. This guy is very good in limited as well. Okay. So we got Lifecrafter's Lifecrafter's Gift, I should say. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature, then put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it. Outland Boar. Outland Boar can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. So it can't be chumped. No chumpy chump on that guy. And then we got another Spire Patrol. Oh, we got another Aether Geode Miner. I'm going to keep saying Ether. It's just habit. And we have a foil. A foil Renegade Wheelsmith. This is a 3/2 for 3. And when he becomes tapped, target creature can't block this turn. So very good for white-red aggro, especially vehicles. Let's see if we get anything crazy out of our winnings. Three people at my pre-release today opened Masterworks in their pre-release pools, which is pretty crazy. Cogwork Assembler, Maverick Thopterist. Okay, a 2/2 for 5, a red, blue, and 3 generic. With Improvise, though, so you can pay him for cheaper if you have artifacts. When he enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. Not bad. Barricade Breaker, an interesting card. It's a 7/5 that has to attack each turn if able, but it costs 7. Except that if you have a bunch of artifacts, you can pay them. You can tap them to pay for this guy, so not terrible. Okay, so then we got Metallic Mimic, which is our promo card. So we've got a non-promo version of him. We got our first ad card, Joyous. We got 3 packs left here from the winnings. A Deadeye Harpooner, which is a 2/2 for 3 with Revolt. When Deadeye Harpooner enters the battlefield, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, destroy target tapped creature and opponent controls. Seems like a pretty good trick. This guy was in my deck, and I didn't see him. I think I only saw him in one game, and I was super disappointed because this card seems bonkers. A 4/4 for 4 with Trample that whenever it attacks, it gets a +1/+1 counter on it, and it's only crew 1. Seems pretty good. Now, it's no Thopter by any means, right? It's not a 3/3 for 2 that loots when it swings, but still, this guy can get out of hand and be very difficult to deal with, especially in limited. Maverick Thopterist again, and our rare, another SRAM Senior Edificer. Interesting. Not bad for me. I mean, I don't mind building a deck with this guy. He seems pretty good. And we got a foil. Was our foil here? Implement of Ferocity. So it's a 1 mana cost artifact that when you pay a green and sack it, you put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Activate this ability only time you could activate a sorcery. And when it goes to the graveyard, you draw a card. From the battlefield, I should say. Okay, 2 packs left. 2 packs left. Let's see how this goes. Got a little weird, like, flicky piece of stuff there. Okay, we got a Foundry Hornet. It's a 2/3 flyer for 4, black. When Foundry Hornet enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with a 1/1 counter on it, creatures your opponents control get -1, -1 until end of turn. It's kind of interesting. Hidden Herbalists. A 2/2 for 2, so a bear. But it has Revolt, so when it enters the battlefield, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, you get 2 green mana. Not bad. Be an interesting way to convert your mana from one color to another if needed. Pima Aether Seer. So it's a 3/2 for 4. I played this in my deck. It seemed to work out pretty well for me. Not too bad. Most times you get 3 energy minimum. Most of the times I played it, I ended up with 4 or 5. So it worked out pretty well. It's a nice way to ramp your energy. So it says when Pima Aether Seer enters the battlefield, you get an amount of energy equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. So at worst, it's a 3/2 for 4 that gives you 3 energy. But then it has a second ability that says pay 3 energy. Target creature blocks this turn if able. It's a nice way to get rid of people's stuff off the board. And we got a Mythic. Nice. We got a Mythic out of our winnings, so that's good. Exquisite Archangel. It's a 5/5 flyer for 7. It says, if you would lose the game, instead exile Exquisite Angel and your life total becomes equal to your starting life total. Wow. Now, that seems pretty weird and crazy. It's a good thing it doesn't have flash, let me tell you. But if you could sneak this in on a death blow, that'd be pretty crazy. One of the guys at my pre-release said he had this on the battlefield and died, and it actually triggered, which is interesting. It's pretty crazy. It's an interesting mythic. And we've got a foil here as well. A Perilous Predicament. 5 mana cost. Each opponent sacks an artifact creature and non-artifact creature. Sacks an artifact creature and a non-artifact creature. Okay. That's interesting. So they can't sack like their artifact creature as they have to sack 2, which, although I guess, yeah, they have to sack 1 of each. So they lose 2 things if they have them both, which sucks. So like it's an instant 2 for 5, so you play it when they crew something so that they lose their vehicle and their creature that crewed it. That would suck. Okay. We got a Renegade Rallier, which is a 3/2 for white and a green. And that's all he is, except that he has Revolt. So it says when he enters the battlefield, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, return target permanent card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Not a bad little guy. Okay, so we got Illusionist's Stratagem. Exile up to 2 target creatures you control, then return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. Draw a card. Interesting. Yeah, we got another Feldar Guardian. So, like, I'm halfway there. I have 3 copies of him now, and I think I have 3 copies of Saheeli. So maybe we'll go down that road. And then we got a Yahini's Expertise. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Yahini's Expertise? I'm not sure. Anyway, for 4 mana, all creatures get -3/-3 until end of turn. You may cast a card with a converted mana cost 3 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So all these Expertise cards that came out in this set are this same sort of format where when you cast this card, something happens, and then you get to cast a card from your hand with converted mana cost X or less, depending on what it was. It generally seems to be a cost of 1 less than what you paid for this card. So essentially this would trigger. It's on the stack. All creatures get -3, -3. So that happens. It resolves off the stack because the second ability gets put on the stack after that. So your card that you get to play doesn't necessarily get killed by the -3, -3. That's my understanding. Now, maybe I'm wrong. And if so, let me know in the comments below. I'd be curious to hear your take on it. but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. And if not, then that card seems a little bit busted to me for the reason to play it. Anyway, so that was my Friday night Aether Revolt pre-release kit that I was unable to play, with also my winnings from today, Sunday. So thank you for watching. If you could like and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next video.